Your Excellency, the Vice President and the Chairman of the National MSME Council, Senator Kashim Shettima, the father of SMEs in Nigeria, the AUC Chairperson, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Senator Hadija Ibrahim, my honorable ministers here present. Please let me introduce my honorable ministers here present, both of them. We have the Honorable Minister for Trade and Investment, Honorable Jumoke Oduwole. Please a round of applause for her. And we have the Honorable Minister for State for Industry, Senator John Ewan Eno. The head of delegation and ambassadors, especially those from the AUC, the EU, and UNDP. My brother and friend, the special advisor to the president on job creation and MSMEs, all heads of government agencies here present, members of the private sector, gentlemen of the press, and our small and medium businesses here present, I say good morning to you. Good morning to you. Let me congratulate the African Union for the 4th MSME Forum happening here in Nigeria. A couple of things have happened since we met in Namibia last year, and I'll just highlight 3 of them. And on behalf of the 39,654,385 nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises across the 36 states and the FCT, we welcome you to Nigeria. The first important thing that has happened since we met in Namibia is His Excellency, the President, marking the sum of 200 billion naira for single digits financing in Nigeria. 75 billion naira for large enterprises as a single-digit interest loan, 75 billion for small businesses, and 50 billion naira grants for our nano businesses across the 36 states and the FCT. Please, I think it deserves a resounding applause. Now, I said grants, so they don't have to pay back. 1 million of our nano businesses will receive at least 50,000 naira each. I think His Excellency the President deserves a resounding applause for that. The second thing that has happened since we met in Namibia is the constitution of our National MSME Council. Now, this is a council that has cascaded to the states. What it means is that if a small business in Aba or in Anambra or in Yobe is having a problem, the first point of call is their business member organization. If that problem cannot be solved at that level, then it goes to the SMEDAN state offices. If SMEDAN at the state office can't solve it, then it goes to the state national council, the state council of SMEs. And at the state level, this is chaired by the different governors. If that problem cannot be solved, then it comes to the secretariat, which I chair as the secretary. If I can't solve it, I go to the father of SMEs, who is the chairman of the National Council. If the vice president cannot solve that problem, he would take it to the president. I often joke that if the president cannot solve your problem, please take the problem to God. But I don't think that there's no problem that cannot be solved through this National Council of SMEs. And as a result of that, we've collaborated with other state agencies, and I'm happy to announce that we have our AEO program with the Nigeria Customs Service. This is a program where our small business owners do not actually spend more than 24 hours to export their products from Nigeria. And Your Excellency, there's one phenomenal entrepreneur here. She's actually above 70, the CEO of Leluk. Mrs. Leluk, if you're here, just wave to the crowd. Yes, she's over there. Right now, all our products, she makes Ankara bags, Ankara products. Our products do not spend more than 24 hours in Nigeria before it's exported. This is as a result of the work that we're doing at the National Council. And you have also mandated us. We started to solve for single-digit financing, and we are very, very positive that before the end of our next meeting, we would have resolved that in Nigeria. The last thing that has happened is our ecosystem strategy. It is something themed around grow. Please tell your number, grow. GROW. It's only 4 things that we do as SMEDAN. G stands for guidance, R stands for resources, O stands for opportunities, and W stands for work for support. Supporting His Excellency the President's Nigeria First policy, we are supporting that with the Grow Nigeria policy. We're helping our small businesses with all the guidance, all the resources, all the opportunities, and all the workforce support that they need to grow. And that's our theory for change. We believe that with the right guidance, with the right resources, with the right opportunities, and the right workforce support, any nano business can metamorphose into a micro business, any micro can turn into a small, and a small to a large enterprise. And that's the work that we've been doing in the last 18 months. And so Grow Nigeria has metamorphosed into the 8 priority sectors that we're focused in SMEDAN. The first is Wear Nigeria. What I'm wearing today is made by Nigerian entrepreneurs, from top to the bottom. And Madam Ambassador, we would like you to enforce the Nigeria First policy. The things from Ghana and from Zimbabwe, we would like to replace them with Nigeria-made products. It's Nigeria, from the farm to the dining table, that whole value chain. We are there supporting our farmers with fertilizers, with inputs, and also perfecting the value chain to make sure that we help with our President's Job Food Security Initiative. Patronize Nigeria, where Nigeria has spoken about. Listen and watch Nigeria. Our Nollywood and our podcast and our music is growing in leaps and bounds. And we want to continue to support our entrepreneurs in that. Digitize and innovate Nigeria. And last but not the least, produce Nigeria, helping with our local manufacturers to increase productions. Your Excellencies, I want to thank you for coming. And I know that the hurdles and the challenges that are faced with our small businesses in Ghana are very similar to those that are faced in South Africa, in Namibia, in Congo. And we are we're looking forward to solving this problem as a collective, sharing ideas, sharing knowledge. And I'm very sure that at the end of this forum, we will have a better ecosystem for our small businesses across the continent. There are a couple of panel sessions that are going to happen in the course of the week, but the one that's very much important to us, that touches my heart, is the MSME Awards, which is happening on Thursday. Your Excellency, small businesses have won cars. Small businesses have won rent for the whole year, just helping to cushion the effect of doing businesses. And I want to thank Honorable Adetola Johnson for helping to champion this. And if we're not too busy, please, with a resounding applause, let us clap for His Excellency the Vice President. Please clap, 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 clap. I think we can do better than that for the Vice President. Should we stand up? Please keep clapping for His Excellency the Vice President. Please. We can do better than that. Thank you so much. Do we know why we're clapping? No, sir, please sit down. We talk about, I spoke about 39,654,385 nano, micro, small, and medium enterprises. Everyone who comes here will say SMEs are the bedrock of the economy. SMEs are this, SMEs are that. The number one person that has not paid lip service to these SME problems is His Excellency the Vice President. Every time I go to him, he's willing. Mr. Vice President, there are 5 people that are in the country and talk, bring them. Mr. Vice President, this policy in this state, they're not helping with SM. He said, I will call the governor. He has not for once relented in the efforts for small businesses and resolving the issues of small businesses. Please, I think it deserves a resounding applause. Oh, on that note, I want to thank you. And I look forward to hosting you with the Special Advisor to the President at the National MSME Awards. It promises to be exciting. Thank you so much, and God bless you. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for Dr. Charles Odi, Director General, SMEDAN. Thank you so very much for your insightful keynote and message on the importance of MSMEs. And before we take our last goodwill message, I'd like to ask the audience, who here is wearing Made in Nigeria clothing? Just please put up your hand if you are. Great. Okay, clap if you're wearing Made in Nigeria clothing. Clap for yourselves, clap for yourselves. That's amazing. So last but certainly not least, please let's put our hands together for Dr. Olasupo Olusi, Director General of the Bank of Industry of Nigeria, le Directeur Général de la Banque d'Industrie du Nigeria. Let's put our hands together for him, please.
Thank you. Of course, I won't go beyond that. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the representatives of the African Union Chair, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, honorable ministers here present, members of the diplomatic corps, colleagues, heads of agencies, development partners, and MSME champions across Africa. Good morning or good afternoon to you now. And please allow me to stand on already established protocol. It has been said already that it is an honor, of course, to be part of this pivotal gathering of stakeholders committed to advancing inclusive economic growth across Africa. I'm especially pleased that Nigeria is hosting this year's AU MSME Forum, and this underscores the importance of this segment of enterprises to Nigeria, and it underscores this importance to the vision of our leader, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda. As a result of his vision, the Bank of Industry has prioritized initiatives that strengthen the MSME finance ecosystem. We've expanded our reach to interventions through grassroots engagements, targeted funding programs, and capacity building support for entrepreneurs across critical sectors of our economy. We've recognized the evolving needs of small businesses, and we're also investing in institutional reforms, digital tools that will improve service delivery, enhance client experience, and lay the groundwork for a more agile, responsive financial mechanisms. This forum, for us, is more than a platform for dialogue. It is a catalyst for collective action. The conversations over the coming days must shape the trajectory of MSME support across Africa and must drive the bold steps needed to place MSMEs at the center of our industrialization, job creation, and prosperity agenda. No viable business should be left behind due to lack of access to markets, finance, and other instruments of growth and development. On behalf of the Bank of Industry, I want to reaffirm our commitment to empowering African MSMEs, advancing national priorities, and supporting the African Union's MSME development strategy. We know that behind every small business, there is a person with a dream. We at BOI, we do everything we can to ensure that those dreams become a reality. And in closing, I want to commend the AU Commission, the host country committee, and all power partners involved in convening this forum. I wish all participants fruitful deliberations and tangible outcomes that will advance the aspirations of our MSMEs across the continent. Thank you, and God bless you all.
I think we need to appreciate him more because he stuck to time. He delivered in 3 minutes. Thank you very much. The Managing Director, Chief Executive of the Bank of Industry. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before Ambassador Falabioke speaks to us, we shall be taking 10 minutes to watch the Fireside chat. Our moderator for the Fireside chat is Precious Agecheta, private sector development expert, African Union Commission. And they'll be taking a look at catalyzing MSME resilience, harnessing digital innovation, expanding market access, and unlocking affordable financing in Africa. So as Precious is coming up, well, we are having adjustments to the program. Now we have said that the African Union 6th region global should just give us his own goodwill as short as that of the Managing Director of Bank of Industry. And I'm very sure he's my friend. He will make his goodwill message very bankable. So let me welcome here Ambassador Afolabi Oke.
Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to very quickly thank the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for accepting to host this AU MSME Forum. I'd like to very quickly acknowledge His Excellency Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, Chairman of MSME. We're indeed very proud of you, sir, for all that you do and helping to give hope to the seemingly bleak future of a lot of the MSMEs. Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Olajumoke Omoniyi Oduwole, MFR, we want to thank you for your contribution. She was at the just concluded West African Economic Summit with the deal room, which led to the bilateral agreement between Benin Republic and Nigeria. Please a round of applause. Thank you very much. Minister of Arts and Culture, Tourism, Creative Economy, Barrister Hanatu Musawa, thank you very much. Managing Director of BOI, Private Sector Partners, Diplomatic Corps, AU Chair, and all AU representatives, members of Diplomatic Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols duly observed. Very quickly, in July 2003, at the second ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union in Maputo, Mozambique, the AU made a groundbreaking decision to recognize the African diaspora as a sixth region of Africa. This resolution marked a historic shift, acknowledging Africa's living outside the continent as integral contributors to the Africa's unity, progress, and development. This recognition was later reinforced during the Global African Diaspora Summit in Johannesburg, South Africa in May 2012. The summit established the Africa's diaspora right to participate in AU processes and laid the foundation for structured engagements between the continent and its diaspora communities. And its mandate is basically to strengthen social, economic, cultural, and political ties between Africa and its diaspora, promoting Pan-African identity, dignity, and heritage, facilitating diaspora contributions to trade, education, entrepreneurship, arts, technology, and governance. Also championing reconnection, reintegration, and return of the diaspora to the continent. Engaging diaspora leadership to co-create solutions for Africa's development. It is in line with the AU theme of the year, Justice for Africans and People of African Descent through Reparation. The African Union has designated this 2025 as the year of justice for Africans and people of African descent through reparation. This theme reflects AU's unwavering commitment to acknowledge and redressing the lasting impact of slavery, colonization, apartheid, and genocide, seeking global accountability and reparatory justice, strengthening advocacy for human rights, dignity, and social economic restitution for African people globally. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the African Union 6th region stands firmly with this call for justice and is mobilizing diaspora leaders, policy experts, faith communities, cultural organizations, and economic institutions to ensure this vision becomes a reality. On behalf of the Secretary General of the African Union 6th region, Dr. Macaulay Kalu, it is with great pride that we announce today, this special day, the appointment of Mr. Temitola Adekunle Johnson, MFR, as the Special Advisor to the African Union 6th region on job creation and MSMEs. I think he deserves a round of applause. Mr. Johnson, currently serving as a special advisor to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on job creation and MSME, has been a strong pillar to the economic empowerment of Nigerians, driving policies and programs that uplift thousands through access to financing, skills, and development. This new role within AU 6-star recognizes his excellence in public service, his visionary leadership, and his commitment to economic transformation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this appointment is in alignment with AU 6-star's mandate and the AU 2025 theme of reparatory justice. Economic empowerment is justice, job creation is restitution, inclusion is reconciliation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I please humbly welcome His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima GCON, to please help present this very special package and recognition to this young gentleman that has been making impact not only in Nigeria, but globally. May I please request that we present this special award to Mr. Adekunle Johnson. Please a round of applause for this amazing. Thank you very much. God bless you, sir. Thank you for all you do, sir. God bless Nigeria. God bless you all. Thank you. Please, one more time, a round of applause.
Thank you very much. And so very quickly, we'll now take our fireside chat. Precious is here. Precious, please take over. And let me welcome here the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, to please step forward.
Good afternoon, Nigeria. Thank you. Good afternoon. While she's... Good afternoon, Nexim. Joined with me here is the Honorable Minister. But please, before I begin, Your Excellency, the Vice President, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. Thank you. For this opening fireside chat, I have a distinguished woman, a reform-driven leader, who has previously served as a special advisor to 2 Nigerian presidents, where she led over 200 business climate reforms through the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council. She's a respected voice in economic policy, trade negotiations, and governance. She's recognized with the National Honor MFR in 2023 and inducted into the MI Hall of Fame in 2024. She's an academic at heart. She teaches international economic law at the University of Lagos and holds degrees from University of Lagos, Cambridge, Stanford Law School. So you know the material we're dealing with today. Please put a round of applause for her. The theme of this fireside chat is catalyzing MSME resilience, harnessing digital innovation, expanding market access, and affordable financing in Africa. She'll be giving us a perspective from the national context, and hopefully with the distinguished guests here, we can scale to our various countries and continent at large. Welcome, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So this is going to be a fireside chat, basically a conversation between the both of us, and hopefully the audience will benefit from this very immensely, as this will set the theme for the rest of the forum. But before we begin, I have a question. How do you, as a Nigerian minister, ensure, because I know Nigeria has made significant strides in trade and investment, what are some policies that the country has taken in unlocking and improving micro, small, and medium enterprises?
That's an interesting question. Your Excellency, the Vice President, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'll start with the Vice President. He's the chair of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, which I had the privilege of leading for about 8 years, which works on business climate reforms across the board, all arms and levels of government, from the federal agencies, over 50 of them, to all state governments, to the National Assembly, the judiciary, and private sector. In the PEBEC, the coordination to deliver reforms is specifically targeted at MSMEs, which are nearly 50% of Nigeria's GDP. The PEBEC also works on large businesses and across various sectors. So just starting in addition to all what the MD of Smeden said over here. His Excellency has championed across the board on different categories that target reform across the MSME sphere.
That's very impressive. At this juncture, I'm tempted to say, please let's give a round of applause to His Excellency, the Vice President of Nigeria. Now, while we're still gaining the momentum, I think it's also keen to mention that I am Nigerian, a proud one, and it's an exciting moment for us to see what the Nigeria Trade and Industry Ministry is doing. In addition to the opening question, I would like to ask, what role do you think government policies should play in creating an enabling environment for private sectors? Because I know at least half of this room are MSMEs, and they're very keen on knowing how is the government creating those spaces to ensure that they are able to scale.
So that question is actually quite similar to your first question, and I'll talk about what the government is doing in addition to what the government should be doing, so I'll layer them together. So I've talked about the PEBEC, and you've heard about the interventions from Smeden, and I can speak to the work from the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. We spend quite a bit of time in addition to focusing on industrial reforms, whether at a large scale or smaller economic zones, to attracting and especially retaining capital into Nigerian investment. So investment retention leads us to working with businesses across the board, from nano all the way to platinum, which are businesses that have a turnover of over $1 billion per annum, and different stratas, the different interventions for those businesses. So retaining investment in the economy speaks to the stabilization that His Excellency, Mr. President, has been on, whether monetary, whether removal of subsidies, structural adjustments, whether unifying the foreign exchange to make sure there's stability, the tax reforms, the bills are still before Parliament. These are the systemic interventions at the macro level that deliver a stabilized business environment. You would know from the ratings with Moody and Fitch that the international community has already been very pleased with the stabilization and the trajectory that this administration is pursuing. In addition to that, the mobilization of investment. Mr. President, as the Chief Investment Officer of this economy, in 2 years has galvanized over $50 billion of foreign investment announcements, and it's our job at the ministry, through agencies under us such as the NIPC, to track and to make sure that that money comes home. In the area of trade policy, if you want me to go on or if you want me to stop?
I think you can touch on that.
Okay, so in the area of trade policy, we champion AFCFTA, which is squarely within the remit of our collaboration with the African Union, with the AFCFTA's Secretariat. We're digital trade co-champions, and that means that we represent Africa in galvanizing attention, capital, and investment in the digital trade space. And why is Nigeria a digital trade co-champion? It's because that is where Nigerian businesses, particularly MSMEs and our startup ecosystem, over 50% of the unicorns across the African continent are Nigerian extraction. Nigerian businesses thrive in that demography. MSMEs layer a lot of automation and technology in what they do. So Mr. President believed that being digital trade co-champions and leading the continent on that particular agenda speaks a lot to over 200 million Nigerians and where this economy is going.
Thank you very much. And I think while you were speaking, I already hear the synergies between what the ministry is doing and what the agencies under it are also doing, because when Smeden spoke, he spoke about some of these initiatives. But very specifically, what is Nigeria doing to push single-digit interest loans? I know it's been touched on a couple of times. So what have been some of the challenges, and how is Nigeria looking some of these problems?
So thankfully, you have the Managing Director of Bank of Industry here who also touched on that. I also have the opportunity of working closely with the central bank governor. When you talk about single-digit interest, it's not an issue that you can take alone in isolation. It speaks to balancing inflation, it speaks to shareholders' funds and a lot of things. But the government and state governments, I should also commend state governments who have partnered in terms of matching funds to reduce the cost of capital. And we continue to have different interventions. I believe I saw the MD of Nigerian Export-Import Bank as well, Nexim, also under this ministry, continue to working with businesses to de-risk. We also spend quite a bit of time working with development institutions to make sure, development financial institutions, to make sure that we're able to de-risk some of the transactions, mostly at the larger level, but that also affects the ecosystem. So there are a number of interventions that this administration has led with in terms of making sure that we prioritize cost of capital, affordability of capital, the ease of movement of capital, payment solutions, digital public infrastructure, and all the things that will power the operationalization of the AFCFTA.
Please give her a round of applause. Some of these challenges are not a quick fix, and I think that's one of the message we need to put out there. We're really keen about single-digit interest loans. We know that this is top of mind for Nigeria and other countries on the African continent, and it's interesting to see what Nigeria is doing proactively to ensure that this comes to fruition. I'm going to ask a very short, sweet question. What sectors do you think are the most promising sectors in Nigeria where MSMEs can quickly capitalize on expanded market access, and what support do you think they require to scale?
Well, the first thing is digital trade, layering all their businesses with technology, with AI, that trajectory. The agribusiness space is a great one. His Excellency is also a champion of that space. Light manufacturing is where Nigeria leads. The country rep of UNDP spoke about the collaboration, the air cargo corridor with Uganda Air. We also with UNDP, released a market intelligence tool that maps where Nigerian MSME goods are in demand in 13 southern and eastern African countries. And so what this does is it gives the market intelligence from snacks like plantain chips to fashion like clothes that we're wearing, and which countries are in demand, and then the logistics and trade facilitation to get the goods there. So with light manufacturing, with agribusiness, the creative sector is also doing really well. Services, outsourcing of services, the National Talent Export Program under Mr. President's leadership is also another area. There's also OTNI under the leadership of His Excellency the Vice President. This is outsourcing of business services. Nigeria's GDP is now over 50% services. It's also an area where we're very competitive. And right now, under NATEP, over 2,000 Nigerian youth are already having outsourced business services, and they're earning hard currency from software engineering to different productive jobs. So that's another area and another reason why we go there, because whether it's goods, whether it's services, these are areas, what we need most is productivity and competitiveness.
Thank you very much. So for the MSMEs in the house, if you are still thinking of your business ideas, this is just a free consultation. Now you know the areas that are thriving. And then just before we wrap up, in line with the theme of the 4th AU MSME Forum, what would you say a digitally enabled, regionally connected, and well-financed MSME ecosystem looks like in practice?
It looks like $1 trillion for the Nigerian economy.
Thank you very much. And as this is my last question, I promise. As we conclude, what is one concrete commitment that your distinguished office can make in the next 12 months to advance MSME resilience through the approaches that we've discussed?
We already made it. We inaugurated the Central Coordination Committee for AFCFTA operationalization and domestication in Nigeria. So that means all the regulations, legislation that are needed to empower and enable our MSMEs to export. I didn't finish talking about all the pillars under the FMITI and what we have in store for our stakeholders, but all the coordination needed to empower them to scale and to export across the continent is being well coordinated with all the necessary players in attendance, from customs to SON to everyone, whether NAFDAC, both within the FMITI family and beyond. And so we're delivering a coordinated government of Nigeria response to MSMEs to support them as they go across the continent. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was indeed the last question. So please, let's give her a round of applause, and looking forward to all the other sessions of the forum. Thank you very much.
Very good question.
Thank you very much. And let's appreciate her. She's stepping down. The Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. We appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. And Precious, that was a beautiful job you did. Thank you. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome for the last goodwill message the Managing Director of Nexim Bank, Mr. Ababelu.
His Excellency, the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Eja, Honorable Ministers from Industries, Trade and Investment, the Head of Cooperation, AU, Delegation to Nigeria, and ECOWAS, Mr. Massimo, Ms. Elsie Atafua, UNDP representative, Mr. Tola Johnson. I think everybody has spoken so much about you today, and I'll be amiss if I don't recognize you too. Heads of agencies, my colleagues here present, all the MSMEs here present, ladies and gentlemen, let me stand on protocols established. I am pleased to be part of this forum. And we are proud as Nexim Bank to be part of those who made this possible. This is because of our belief in the opportunities of MSME, the opportunities that MSMEs have to build the economies across Africa in general and Nigeria in particular. So this event is organized as part of AU's Agenda 2063 of Sustainable Development, designed to create a platform for stakeholders to collaborate, to share insights, and develop strategies to support the development of MSMEs. It is therefore a homegrown approach to Africa's development efforts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for far too long, Africa and its development aspirations have been heavily dependent on the external markets, while ignoring the huge opportunities that are available within the region. However, recent global developments, including COVID-19 pandemic, the growing trade and economic protectionism, particularly with the new administration in the United States, as well as other geographical tensions in Europe and the Middle East, have further underscored the need for Africa to look inwards and develop its regional value chains. All hands must therefore be on deck to support this initiative. It is very heartwarming to note that the commencement of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, has been a major step in the right direction as part of efforts to improve the regional trade performance, which has been muted at 15% in Africa. We need to facilitate and forward the single market of these 1.3 billion people and a combined GDP of $3.4 trillion. The success of this treaty will, however, be largely dependent on the efforts to boost productivity of our MSMEs through opportunities to leverage partnership, align regional policies and strategies, as well as the cross-fertilization of ideas, which is the key objective of this forum. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is in this light that Nexim has been promoting MSMEs in Nigeria. It is to position those SMEs to play in the regional and global markets through funding interventions, and other trade facilitation role. Indeed, our activities strongly aligns to today's theme, which is building resilient MSMEs through digital innovations and market access and affordable financing. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not bore you, but let me just say that Nexim, which has been in collaboration with all the MSME initiatives under the Office of the Vice President, will continue to support the MSMEs in Nigeria because of the immense role they play in job creation, in building of the economy, and keeping activities within the economy. It is my honor to welcome everybody who is here and also to commit to you our support, our continued support, and as we have been doing all through with you. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually bringing this event to the climax, and to give us a vote of thanks before His Excellency the Vice President speak to us is a man that the MSMEs consider their father. He totally believes that the engine room of any development or economy are the MSMEs, and he's totally committed to them. Farmer, teacher, senator, and a wonderful, committed Nigerian. I'd like to welcome here the Honorable Minister of State for Industry in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Senator Owen Eno.
The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Chairman of the National MSME Council, His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. The representative of the African Union Commission Chairperson, the Honorable Minister of Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduwole, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President and Chairman of the Host Country Committee, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, Mr. Temitola Adenkule Johnson, the heads of government agencies present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the head of cooperation at the EU delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS, the UNDP resident representative, Ms. Elsie, members of the private sector, the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Earlier on, when Elsie spoke, the UNDP representative, and the DG Smedan followed suit in terms of showcasing what they were wearing and giving credence to their homegrown nature. And then we asked a question, how many of us were wearing made in Nigeria and all of that? I said, well, this session is fast becoming a showcase for who we truly are. I had to advise myself. I raised up my hand and I said, well, I'm wearing a made in Nigeria cap. The fabric of my dress may not have been produced in Nigeria, but it was sewn in Nigeria. Therefore, it's part of the patronage of the Nigerian First policy. But having said so, Mr. Vice President, I'd like to thank you very profoundly. Since getting reassigned to be in charge of industry in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, I've watched leadership up close. I've seen you play leadership and mentorship for the MSME ecosystem in our country. I've traveled with you a few times in the course of your leadership and in the way you've championed the cause of MSMEs in our country. I've watched your passion, I've watched your persuasion, and I think that I'm very encouraged, like all of us in this room are. So I thank you. There is none of these sessions that you've sent a representative. You've made sure that you are personally present. That is the attitude we've continued to demonstrate, and I think that that is the attitude we all must learn, and I think that that is why this place is growing in leaps and bounds. So I thank you even for your personal presence this moment. Without the African Union Commission creating this platform for the exchange of knowledge on MSMEs across the African continent, we will not be gathered here. Therefore, I thank the African Union Commission for their foresight and for recognizing the fact, especially, that with the African Continental Free Trade Area, almost everything that we do in industry, in trade, in investment, has to have an African platform. So I thank the African Union, Commission for this and the representative, for being here. The Minister of Trade and Investment, you listened to her, and I think that a lot of people in this room would live here with benefit of her deep knowledge of this sector. And why not? In the 8 years of the last administration, she spent it doing this work and promoting the ease of doing business. Today, as Minister of Trade and Investment, she's continued to champion these goals and these ideals. Thank you for that very interesting and insightful session that we just had. The Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, who chaired, the hosting committee for this event. We couldn't have had an event more elegantly packaged than what we have. It's a testament to your commitment and your diligence in terms of putting this together. The Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation, Mr. Temitola Johnson, let me congratulate you. You leave this room with another appointment, another special advisorship. On and on, even before coming to this sector, to this ministry. You were a delight to watch, and you haven't disappointed. You have continued to do your work as passionately as you've always done. I mean, thank you for this. I mean, it's not a mean feat to hold a conference of this nature, but you've never shied away from any of these. And I think that at the end of the day, when the history of MSMEs is written in this country, you will occupy a pride of place. For all the heads of agencies, I mean, BOI is here, Smidan is here, Nexim is here, that have continued to work very diligently, especially if you look at the theme of this conference. I mean, MSMEs, and then innovation, market access, and affordable financing. It's a no mean job under a climate where the commercial interest rate is soaring to the high heavens, to continue to work every day to keep the rates affordable. So I thank all of you for all the work you've continued to do, NEPC, NIPC, all the agencies in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, for continuing to do the work that you keep doing. Members of the diplomatic corps, heads of other agencies, that have been present here. I mean, our hope collectively, and especially the hope of the Vice President, our champion, is that the next few days, when the real work has to be done, that at the end of the day, there will be real value for this 4th edition of this council meeting, and that all those who have come for this conference are going to go back to their various countries more enriched in terms of how much we need to collaborate, in terms of how much it continues to matter, in terms of what role our MSMEs continue to play, just so that at the end of the day, when we get it right, our economies, our challenge of job creation and all of that can also get sorted. So I thank everyone else that is in the room for making this event, and I urge that we respond with similar seriousness to the various technical sessions that are part of this conference. I thank all of you again. God bless.
Let's clap for Senator Owan Eno, Honorable Minister of State for Industry. Thank you very much for your insightful address. As my colleague said, we are coming to the climax of this event. And without any further ado, I would like to invite Nonye Ayeni, who is the ED for Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Please kindly make your way to the stage. She will talk to us a little bit about what to expect next, and then we will be having a very exciting keynote by none other but His Excellency, the Vice President. Let's put our hands together for Nonye Ayeni, Executive Director, Nigerian Export Promotion Council.
His Excellency, the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Shatima Kashim, the Deputy Chief of Staff for the President, Office of the Vice President, my ministers, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, the AU Chair, the delegates from different African countries, the CEOs of different agencies, ministries, and parastatals, and ladies and gentlemen, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols observed. I am highly honored and privileged to take on this segment of this great event. You see, a lot of people have spoken, but this is the beef of the game. We are going to see the test of Africa, the beef of Africa. We are going to lead, if I'm honored, if I'm given the permission to lead, to ask His Excellency to lead this congregation and this team to the exhibition pavilion. You will see what Nigeria is made of. You will see what other countries of Africa is made of. You will see products that cuts across all segments, from fashion to cosmetics, to shoes, to bags, pharmaceuticals, different oils, different things. This is just a snapshot of what we are going to be seeing for the rest of the week. You will see things like what I'm wearing. Everybody's showcasing what this is, fully made in Nigeria. You will see caps, you will see bags, you see a lot. I'm actually so excited. And as we round up, it will be my honor to ask His Excellency, the Vice President, to lead the delegation to the exhibition pavilion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Nonye Ayeni, Executive Director at Nigerian Export Promotion Council.
Thank you very much. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, at this point, let me welcome the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON.
Un moment de grande importance alors que nous invitons notre orateur principal, son Excellence le sénateur Kashim Shettima, GCON, vice-président de la République fédérale du Nigeria.
Kindly take your seats, please. My cap was made in Maiduguri. My gowns in Lagos by Kenny Jones, and my shoes in Abuja by Shea Body here in Abuja. But sadly, my watch is an Apple Watch, so we are making progress and we'll soon have an African watch. The head of the African Union Commission delegation and Director of Industry, Minerals, Entrepreneurship and Tourism, African Union Commission, Mrs. Ron Usman Umar. The Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Jumoke Oduole, MFR. The Honorable Minister of State for Industry, Senator John Owen Eno. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of BOI, Dr. Olashupo Olusi. The Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Export-Import Bank, Mr. Abba Bello. The DG of SMEREN, Dr. Charles Odi. The Chief Executive Officer of Nigerian Export Promotion Council, my boss, Mrs. Nonye Ayeni. The permanent representative of Nigeria to Nigeria and ECOWAS, African Union, 6th Region Global Ambassador Apo Labi Oke. The Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation, a very celebrated young man, Mr. Temitola Adekule Johnson, MFR. You are the man of the moment. You are the most celebrated gentleman here. The head of cooperation of the European Union delegation to Nigeria, Mr. Massimo De Luca. I like your hair. When I grow up, I want my hair to be as bushy as your own. And my favorite development partner, the ever-energetic Mrs. Elsie Atapwa. Nigeria no go come last. The Deputy Managing Director of Access Bank, Mrs. Chijoma Okoli. Heads of Delegation of Eswatini, Morocco, Zimbabwe, and other members of the diplomatic corps and international organizations present here, senior government officials, development partners, honored guests, members of the fourth estate of the Rim, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. The promise of Africa isn't merely found in the skyscrapers rising in our capitals or the transactions flowing through our stock exchanges. No. The promise of Africa lies in our realization that if we fail to harness the potential of the informal sector, which accounts for nearly 90% of our workforce, we'll keep on going round the same cycle of despair. This gathering, therefore, is a signal that we understand the stake, that we are united by a dream we must realize with our own hands. This is why small enterprises have been at the heart of policy formulation in Nigeria. And in welcoming you to this critical forum, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, assures you of Nigeria's hospitality, of our readiness to learn from one another, and of our determination to agree on the direction we are headed in competing with the rest of the world. MSMEs are modern economic agents. They are our topmost hope. Beyond providing employment to millions, they are engines of inclusive growth and effective tools for poverty alleviation. In Nigeria alone, MSMEs contribute a staggering 48% to our national GDP and provide employment opportunities to over 84% of our workforce. They are a mirror to our future, and they explain why we are deepening our investments to expand the capacity of this sector. From the bustling markets of Cairo to the innovation hubs of Nairobi and Lagos, and from the artisan quarters of Marrakesh to the agricultural processing centers of Accra, MSMEs form the compass in our search for economic balance. Each of us brings to the table unique comparative and absolute advantages shaped by the peculiarities of our nations. That is why we must not only build local infrastructure for entrepreneurial expansion, but must also entrench cross-border cooperation. Our destinies, after all, are bound together. Still, we are not naive about the obstacles that confront our MSMEs. Limited access to affordable finance remains a recurring nightmare. It costs our continent not just money, it costs us momentum. But we must find hopes in the promise of the African Continental Free Trade Area. This is why I am particularly excited about the theme of this forum, building resilient MSMEs through digital innovation, market access, and affordable financing for Africa. The timing is perfect. The vision is clear. We have, over the years, witnessed a remarkable surge in digital adoption across the continent. Fintech innovations are redefining payment systems. E-commerce platforms are connecting artisans in forgotten corners to global markets. Technology is doing what politics once struggled to achieve. It is uniting us, empowering us, and restoring dignity to our people. But for the momentum to be sustained, we must rise to our duty as policymakers. That means investing in robust digital infrastructure, bridging the digital literacy gap, and establishing regulatory frameworks that do not stifle innovation. The African Union's recent launch of the Akili AI platform, in partnership with Meta and Deloitte, is a bold step in the right direction. It is a sign that we are not just watching the world change, we are part of the change. Similarly, through the Project Bridge, the Nigerian government is investing $2 billion in Nigeria's connectivity infrastructure by deploying 90,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable to ensure every Nigerian can access affordable, high-quality connectivity regardless of location. For too long, MSMEs have depended on traditional financial institutions that often perceive them as high-risk borrowers. This has deepened the financing gap and limited growth, but change is unfolding. Fintech firms across Africa are now using alternative data to assess creditworthiness and extend microloans to the previously excluded. It is a revolution from below, yet we cannot stop there. Public and private financial institutions must shed all biases and see MSMEs for what they truly are, partners in development. We must establish strong credit guarantee schemes, create blended finance models, and build regulatory environments that reward innovation while protecting customers. This is how we make them bankable. This is how we ensure that they no longer remain confined to the sidelines of local markets. The Deputy Managing Director of Access Bank can give testimony to the fact that they have gotten back nearly 90% of loans extended to MSMEs across the length and breadth of this country. And of course, the AFCFTA is our master key to a billion people economy, and each of us must do our part to make the most of it. Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, there can be no African prosperity without a strong MSME ecosystem. This forum is a continental call to action. We owe it to ourselves, to our children, and to generations unborn to integrate our informal sector into the framework of formal intra-African trade. I'm confident, I'm absolutely confident, that through our collaborative efforts, this forum will mark a turning point. We hope to see our shared aspirations translated into concrete actions that empower our MSMEs and propel Africa towards a brighter, more sustainable future. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive forum.
We'd like to invite all the that are here and help parastatals to please step up and join the Vice President for a group photograph, including the AU representative, please. Okay. Where's the mic?
You haven't given me one.
Immediately after the photograph, we will take the national anthem, and then His Excellency the Vice President will move over to the exhibition place and launch it. Okay, exhibitors, go to the national anthem, please. The first stanza.